So from the top, hi everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Ink Drinkers. I'm Erica.
And I'm Natalie.
Oh, sorry. Okay, and as usual, this is not a family-friendly podcast.
Yes, there will be spoilers, and we do like to cuss a lot, but we will be, of course, stating the book that we're reading so that you know what spoilers are going to be given out.
Yep. And this week we're super excited because we're starting Pride Month early, and we're going to be talking about Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Can I just say, saying that title out loud takes way more concentration than I care to admit. It takes so much effort for me not to say royal.
Royal? Yeah.
It's rough, not even gonna
My
lie.
brain says royal is no longer a word when that combination of words is happening. So, yeah, it's kind of...
So something else that we were talking about after our first podcast was that some of our viewers might not be familiar with the books that we're talking about, and that's not an audience that we want to exclude. So we decided that we would start off each episode kind of by giving a summary of the book. That way, if you're listening and you haven't read the book, you kind of know what the book is about, in addition to, of course, the spoilers that we will be giving.
Yep. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis on the back for this book. Okay. And it says, when his mother became president of the United States, Alex Claremont Diaz was promptly cast as the American equivalent of a young royal. Handsome, charismatic genius, his image is pure millennial marketing gold for the White House. There's only one problem. Alex has a beef with an actual prince, Henry, across the pond. And when the tabloids get hold of a photo involving an Alex-Henry altercation, U.S.-British relations take a turn for the worse. Heads of family and state and other handlers devise a plan for damage control, stage a truce between the two rivals. What at first begins as a fake, Instagrammable friendship grows deeper and more dangerous than either Alex or Henry could have imagined. Soon, Alex finds himself hurtling into a secret romance with a surprisingly unstuffy Henry that could derail the presidential campaign and upend two nations. It raises the question, can love save the world after all? Where do we find the courage and the power to be the people we are meant to be? And how can we learn to let our true colors shine through?
So I know we were talking about, this book was such a good read the first time.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it even more the second time.
Mm-hmm. The first time through, it instantly became like a comfort book. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it definitely just gets better the second time through.
Going into it the second time, knowing everything that's going to happen makes it so much funnier. All the sarcasm and the jokes and the snide comments that Alex makes about Henry.
And all the references,
fantastic.
too.
Yes.
Like, I forgot all of the references to, like, Star Wars and Game of Thrones and Harry Potter. I had forgotten
and
they're
about that
amazing.
As well. The Star Wars and the Harry Potter references were by far my favorite. When he when Alex calls Henry a Hufflepuff ass bitch.
Yeah.
That was absolutely hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Also, I really love that she just dives right into the book. Within one of the first few pages, they are talking about, I'm even forgetting the context. Was it the fact sheet that Alex had on Henry?
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about Alex's allergies.
Oh, we're just going to go straight to it? Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, we might as well, because that's one of my favorite lines.
Yeah, it really is. So after, should we start with just what happened at the royal wedding and then go into it?
Yeah, I mean, we might as well. So, I mean, obviously, major spoiler alert, if you haven't read this book or, plan on reading it in the future, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so, basically, of course, the president and her family got invited to the royal wedding. It was Prince Henry's his older brother, Prince Philip, was getting married. So they go to this wedding, and Alex gets drunk and goes to basically just start beef with Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry, like, pushes him, and drunk Alex loses his balance, tries to grab onto Henry to steady himself, and instead falls over into the cake table, taking Henry with him. This cake is $75,000.
And they ruin it.
They knock over the entire cake. They're both covered in cake. So, of course, now they have to do, like, damage control because everybody's like, oh, they have beef, whatever. And so their handlers basically decide, like, hey, y'all are fake best friends now. And so Alex gets a fact sheet about Henry, and Henry gets a fact sheet about Alex, and Alex is going over with his sister and his best friend, like, the stuff on Henry's fact sheet so that he knows, like, basically everything about him for interviews and stuff like that. And so they're talking about how his dog's name is David and how that's boring, and, like, how just basically everything about him is, like, ugh. And so he says, what do you think is on my fact sheet? And his sister just straight up says, allergies, dust, Tide laundry detergent, and shutting the fuck up.
Within the first...
That's on page 32.
Yes.
So it really just gets into it.
I think that's just such a great, I don't know, little, like, insight to how the book is. Because the book is like that from the very beginning to the very end. Sarcastic, funny, but at the same time, so deep.
Yeah.
And she writes some things that are just so poetic. That just... And I don't know how she was able to make those fit together. I don't know how she was able to take the sarcastic shutting the fuck up comment and then go into this big issue that these two, not just any people, but two figureheads for powerful nations, you know, this problem that they have of, listen, you know, one's bisexual and one's gay, and that's really scary for both of them. And she tackles the subject so well, and writes some things that are just so poetic and just beautiful, honestly. To make all of that fit together is true talent, in my opinion.
Yeah. She's amazing. She has another book. I think it's out now, actually. Or
it
maybe
comes out June 1st.
June 1st?
Yes, One Last Stop.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited for that as well. I didn't know about it until a couple days ago when I sent it to you on Instagram. I don't know if you had heard about it before.
I had, but I thought it was already out. I didn't know that it wasn't out yet.
It looks like it's going to be so good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really excited for it. But anyways, sticking to red, white, and royal blue.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's just...
And you treated it again like a homework assignment and have a massive amount of notes.
Yeah, sorry. I've been thinking about, should I just start annotating the book itself and just say fuck it with the notes? And then I think about the fact that I would have to look at my disgusting handwriting in these beautiful books, and I just cannot make myself. Like, if I had better handwriting, maybe, but no.
The thought of writing in a book to me makes me want to cry. Honestly. Like, if it was, like, a manuscript or something like that, I would have no problem. But, like, taking these books and, like, actually writing notes, oh, my gosh. I just can't.
I don't mind it. I think it depends on the book. Like, textbooks and stuff, I would want to, I want to write directly into the book. And it just makes it easier. But with, like...
But with books.
Yeah, with books like this that are, like, so special to us and stuff like that. Yeah.
I would have to have, like, another copy. One that I've marked up, and then one to, like... showcase, like one that's
to
like
actually
for my
like
private
read
collection or something.
Yeah,
whatever.
Because I feel like I would get distracted reading my own notes, reading the book.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that would just be dumb.
Yeah, that would be really frustrating.
I would annotate a book, like, maybe if I was giving it to somebody as a gift, to be like, these are my thoughts while I read it. I might do that.
That's a cute idea. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I might do that, but I don't think I would do it for my own personal books.
I couldn't.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot.
I could do the tabs. I know a lot of people do that. I could do tabs for, like...
But I don't think I could do the
stuff.
tabs because I think I would tab it and then I would go back and look at it and I'd be like, why did I tab this? And, like, forget the thoughts that I was having while I tabbed it.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Which I guess is why people color code the tabs. I'm sure, like, different colors mean different things to them.
Exactly. I was about to mention color coding it.
Which is kind of what I do with
is.
my, with this situation. Everything has colors for a reason. So people that are just listening, people that are just listening, in my little office area where I study and stuff, I have what I call a quotes wall, and basically just, like, any quote that sticks out to me from, like, a song, movie, TV show, books, whatever, I write it down on little Post-its and I put it on my wall so that I have, like, inspiration while I'm doing homework and other thing that makes me want to kill myself because I'm a STEM major and that's basically what happens. So anyways, I have this, like, quote wall for inspiration, and all of the colors of not only the Post-it notes but also, like, what color Sharpie I write with when I'm writing the quote. It all is for a specific reason. So I guess it would be kind of similar to that.
Speaking of, though, I know, like, a lot of people that do tabs in their book do, like, certain colors for, like, the spicy scenes and whatnot. So let's just, like, get it out there. This book is spicy. Spicy. I feel like...
Okay. It is in the romance section.
It isn't at the same time.
Yeah,
it is. It is in the romance section, but also Barnes & Noble doesn't have a LGBTQA section, so...
Yeah, which is a whole separate discussion within itself, let's be honest.
And I don't know that there's enough spice for it to not be considered YA. I've read YA books that are way spicier.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't feel like...
So I feel like
it's spicy for a YA book, but I feel like for a romance novel, it's not that spicy.
I feel like it's problematic that in Barnes & Noble, it's not in the YA section, and it is in the romance section.
Yeah, it definitely is YA.
Because if it was a female and male main character, I feel like it would have been in the YA section, but I feel like Barnes & Noble put it in the romance section because it's a gay book.
Yeah. Probably. Which, again, just have an LGBTQ section. Like,
exactly.
I don't know.
I find a problem because when I was looking for the book, it took us forever. You were with me at Barnes & Noble. It took us forever to find it.
Yeah.
Could not find it, despite the fact that it's a bright pink, cover. Yes, thank you. Took us forever to find it because it wasn't in the section that I feel like it should have been, at least.
Yeah.
But anyways, what other notes do you have about the book?
Okay, so just to start off, going to, like, the very, very beginning when it's talking about, Alex being he's, like, on the roof or whatever, and he's talking about how there's, like, a loose panel, and, somebody had defaced the White House, probably one of the former first children, and all it says is Rule 1, don't get caught. And I feel like that just pretty much sums up the White House and politics in general. Man. Like, you can pretty much get away with anything, just don't get caught.
And foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah.
Major foreshadowing. With that, because, man, they do everything in their power to not get caught in this book. And it comes back and just bites them in the ass, but works out for the best.
Yeah. Also, okay, so Alex's sister's name is June. I absolutely love her, and I love that she has, like, her weekly roundup of, like, magazines and will, like, read it to him.
Yes.
I love that she goes out of her way to be like, oh, In Touch says you bleached your asshole. And he's like, he's just like, all right. Like, cool.
I love that. I feel like that would be such a good tool for people for children I mean, they're not children. They are adults.
Yeah.
They're
young adults, though. I mean,
yeah, they're young adults. He's
21, I think.
Yeah, 21 or 22.
Yeah, and I think June is like 24 or something like that. So, I mean, they're still fairly young.
Yeah, they're young, but they're adults. But they were thrust into the spotlight at a young age, and not of their choice, obviously, because, you know, in the book, their mom's president, you know, so they've been in the spotlight for a long time, starting when they were young teenagers.
Yeah.
And I just love that she's able to kind of use that as a tool to help just kind of keep things light, I guess, in you know, when they're living lives that are so stressful, and everything that they do has such a huge impact, not only on their mother, but, you know, on the country that she's running.
I agree, and I like that she's able to use it like to her advantage. Like, it helps her, it makes her feel better, because a lot of times people in the spotlight, like, social media can absolutely destroy a person. Like, the internet is not a good place to be sometimes, and I like that she's able to, like, take these magazines and these Twitter art, like, tweets and stuff like that, and just roll with it, and just be like, yeah, okay, like, that's fine.
Kind of like using humor as a coping mechanism.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what she's doing, but it really works for her, and I love that she was able to do that for herself and find that, like, outlet to be like, you know, this isn't really the life that I wanted, but I'm gonna make the most of it.
Yeah.
I like that. I love that he wants to read fan fiction about himself.
That is so, man.
As somebody that reads fan fiction, you do not want to read fan fiction about yourself ever.
Oh my god.
The fact that he, like, knows it exists and he, like, kind of wants to read it, I'm like, no, that's not a road you want to go down.
He really is slightly narcissistic.
Yeah, he really is.
But not in the narcissistic way that we're used to having encounters with.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not like he, like, doesn't care about other people.
Not at all.
Just,
he genuinely does. And that's something
that's the whole reason he wants to be in politics, is because he cares so much about other people, and he knows that he grew up in Texas, where, you know, the education system is shit, and there's a lot of other shit things in Texas, because there just are. I mean, we can go into it, but let's not. And so he knows all of that, and he, like, legitimately wants to protect the people and do, like, what's best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really love that. And I love that that's such an, you know, it's not a part of the book that was just, like, mentioned, you know, in bypass and then, you know, like, not really talked about. He genuinely cares about the people and wants to be the difference in politics, and that's why he, you know, has a fire under his ass for no good reason, as his sister says in the book, and has such high goals for himself, is because he wants to make a difference and make it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how that changes in the book, and how he, you know, he has a vision for how he wants to make changes, but then we get to see him make changes and make an impact that he doesn't even, like,
he doesn't
realize.
He doesn't even realize.
You know, he doesn't realize just how big of a difference he's making, just, you know, when everything about him and Prince Henry gets leaked and the whole world realizes, you know, that they have been in a relationship this whole time, and just the massive impact that he was able to have, you know, on people everywhere. But I really loved that the author also stayed with his roots and showed that he made an impact in his home state in Texas.
Which is what he always wanted so much of. It's funny because
he knew that there were people out there, you know, who needed him. He knew that there was hope for Texas, and he wound up being that hope.
Exactly.
And that was beautiful.
And it's funny, too, because in their emails, you know, they talk about making history together. The quote, history, huh? I bet we could make some.
Yes.
But then when it happens and they do make history, they don't even really necessarily realize
in the moment.
Yeah,
you know what they're doing.
Yeah, what a major part of history that this is going to end up being. Like, first of all, it's a international relationship with two figureheads, and second of all, they're gay. Like, and that's amazing. And the just, oh my gosh. And we'll get into it more later, but the amount of support that they got from both America and England too was just, I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And it really gives you hope. I really wish that there was that much support for just like an average person coming out, because I know that there's just not. Yeah, there's so many ways. And I mean, it even, you know, touches on it when Prince Henry comes out to his brother and it goes, you know, terribly wrong. And and I love that.
And his brother expects him to still pretend. You know, his brother suspected the whole time that Prince Henry wasn't straight.
Yeah.
And then when Henry finally came out to his older brother as being gay, he wasn't even shocked by that. He was shocked by the fact that Prince Henry wasn't planning on pretending to be the gay, or pretending to be the straight heir that everyone expected him to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, man, shitty. But also... is nothing less of what I would expect from the royal family, honestly.
Oh, no.
In real life.
No.
I think the author really did a solid job of portraying, I don't want to say all of America, but how a lot of people view the actual royal family. So, and it was really funny to see them talk about the royal family and their history of everything.
Yeah.
Of stealing,
and I love that Henry, like, calls out his own family. Like,
yes.
He's like, oh, yeah, this is probably one of the most beautiful, like, artifacts we have, and we didn't even steal it.
Yeah, we didn't have to steal it.
And the amount of jokes Alex makes about inbreeding.
Oh, my God. Absolutely hilarious. God. When he texts him and says, wow, you have a lot of moles. Is that from the inbreeding?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's like what the first text message he ever sends them, because Henry texts him first and then he doesn't reply, and then he sees that picture on Instagram or wherever it was, and that's the first thing he says to him, which completely sums up their relationship, like, from start to finish. Because when they first make this deal where, like, oh, y'all have to be friends or whatever, and Alex has to go over and spend the weekend in England doing, like, being seen with Henry, basically. One of the first things that happens is Alex being like, pretend like you like me. Yeah. And Henry says, I would rather be waterboarded. And then proceeds to say, your country could probably arrange that. And Alex says, go fuck yourself. Like, and it's so amazing.
I also love the scene where their phones die so they don't wake up with their alarms, and they're about to get caught by Alex's one of his handlers. Yeah. And he grabs clothes and shoves them at Henry and tells him to get in the closet, and Henry goes, quite. And Alex is like, yes, we can talk about the irony later. Yeah. Just get in there. But I love how he tells him, I just love that so much, how Henry just goes, quite, about getting in the closet. That was such a funny moment. And there's so much of that throughout the entire book. That makes it just such a comfort book, especially for people like us who thrive on sarcasm and, you know, dark humor and all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I also love just, like, reading through it the second time and picking out all the little details. I'm like, Alex,
come on, man.
How did you not know?
How did you think you were straight?
Like, he was staring at Henry's pictures since he was 12. The first thing he notices about Shan, Henry's handler, is how attractive he is. Literally, his entire thing with Henry is, like, he'll notice something attractive about him and then be like,
I should punch him. Which
Yes.
is just the epitome of, like, thinking something's so cute that you just want to squeeze it. Like, that's what he does.
And also, like, gay panic.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh,
Like-
his eyes are so beautiful. I need to punch him in one.
Yeah. Which is something
Come
that he
on.
says. He's, like, admiring his eyes and how blue they are. And then he's like, I should punch him into this bush. Like, what? Dude, what? Like...
Come on, my man.
But also, I think it really speaks to the fact that, like, because he knows that he likes girls, too, right? Like, he knows
Right.
that for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But he's never been with a guy, so he doesn't realize that, like, oh, straight people don't find the same sex attractive even if they are. Like, he thinks that he's like, oh, objectively, this person's attractive. Like, no, dude, straight people don't have those thoughts, which is weird to me as well. Like, how can you not just recognize when somebody else is attractive? But that's a whole
Yeah.
different thing. Yeah, he just thinks
For
it's
sure.
totally normal. He's just like, oh, yeah, this person's attractive. That's fine. Like, no,
And when
dude,
they're-
you're bi.
And when they're at Wimbledon,
Mm-hmm.
and David Beckham is there, and he immediately notices how good David Beckham looks and how well his suit looks on him. And he goes, again, how did I ever think I was straight? And it's like, yeah.
He calls himself out for
Yeah,
it.
guy.
He looks at him and he's like, this man exists and I thought I was straight. Like, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
it took you long enough to figure it out, man. That was also really interesting to read the book the first time. So you read it first and then I read it.
Mm-hmm.
And reading it the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, he doesn't know that he's not straight.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for the epic, holy shit,
Mm-hmm.
massive gay panic epitome
Yep.
moment. I was like,
And we got it.
We
Full
got it.
on. I loved it so much.
it was hilarious. But that was really interesting to read it the first time and realize, holy shit, this dude does not know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What, like, it was so like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Is someone gonna tell him? Like, how is this gonna go down?
Which kind
That was
of,
interesting.
I mean,
it was interesting.
yeah, it definitely
Sure.
was.
And I liked that she did that take
Mm-hmm.
of one character who is gay and has known, and then one character who has that epitome of, oh, I'm not straight. What do I do about it?
Yeah.
I thought
Because
that was
even
good.
Henry knew that he was bi before he did, and that's why he kissed him to begin with, is because he thought that Alex knew and, like, felt the same way, so he didn't realize that he just, like, upended this person's entire existence.
Jesus, he really, yeah. His
And the
entire-
fact that he bolted after that, too, because he was embarrassed because he thought he misread the situation,
Yeah.
not realizing it was just that Alex didn't know, and so he straight up fled the country. He was
in-
like, you know what,
in the
I'm gonna
cover
leave.
of night, fled the country, just like dipped out.
Oh
Said,
my-
he said, I'm gonna head out.
So I'ma just go.
And then he did it again. Yo,
We're gonna get into that later because that made me so upset.
I'm gonna quote Zara here. Ask me if I'm afraid of the crown, because when Henry
Yeah.
dipped for the second time, I was like,
I was so mad at him.
you might be a prince, but I want to hit you right now.
I was ready
want
to
hit you.
fight. Oh my god, I was so mad at him. Okay, but backtracking a little bit to more like the beginning of the
Okay.
book and the start of their relationship, when Alex sent him just like an ass ton of campaign buttons,
Oh
and
my
Henry
gosh.
texts him and is like, is this your doing? And he says, just trying to brighten up your wardrobe, sunshine.
Love it. Absolutely, yes.
Because Henry had told him that royals aren't allowed to make statements with
With
their
their-
clothes.
With their clothes, okay.
Which is why, yeah, because he told him he
Okay.
didn't like his tie, and
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
do
No,
something
for
with
sure.
patterns,
For
and he was
sure.
like, oh, I can't. So he just sent
Yeah.
a bunch of campaign
I just,
buttons.
when I read that, all I could think about was like the actual royal family, and I was like,
yeah,
all-
because that is true. They're not
alright,
allowed
to be fair,
They're not even allowed to wear like they're only allowed to wear like nude nail polish. They're not allowed to wear like colors, which is ridiculous. Like,
That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of.
yeah, right. I'm
Yo,
pretty sure. I don't remember.
Crown.
I don't remember who it
What the fuck?
I don't remember who it was or if this is even true, but I think somebody that was one of the women married into the royal family
the nude that she wanted was like too dark or something like that. So
are you
she had
talking
to
about
like
in real life? Like, are you talking about like Meghan Markle here?
Yeah, I'm talking about real life. I don't know if it was her or even if
Or
this is
Kate,
true, but
or-
I feel like I read somewhere that this happened. The nude that they wanted to wear was like too dark, and they had to get it like specially approved. This might be a total lie. I might be
I don't
lying
know why I'm
straight to your face.
surprised when. And I don't know if British people actually do this, but in the book, Prince Philip was literally eating plain toast. And then in one of the scenes, they ate fucking toast and beans. I don't know why I'm surprised.
Okay, no,
because
toast and beans is their breakfast for sure. But even Henry said just plain toast. Who does that? So I don't think plain toast is like a. I don't know.
I don't know why.
I don't know.
Surprised.
I don't
If
know
you eat
about
fucking
British
toast
breakfast.
and beans for breakfast. I'm not surprised
don't
that they say, oh, you have to wear neutral colors. Jesus.
I just don't see how beans can be a breakfast food.
Listen, I like beans, man. I'm gonna be honest. I like baked beans. I like beans. I like green beans, especially Italian cut green beans. But toast and beans for breakfast.
Just like regular like
For
baked
fuck's
beans
sakes.
too.
What
Like-
the?
If you're British and listening to this, absolutely no hate. I just don't understand. Different.
I don't understand how a country could pillage the entire world on the basis of looking for spices and then you don't fucking use any.
God.
Be real honest with you.
Oh my god. Okay. Called out. Okay.
That's exactly what they did. And again, that's no hate. It's all hate to the crown. All hate to the crown. None to actual British people, but...
Oh my god.
Because it wasn't their doing, it was the crown's doing. And not necessarily this crown, but their ancestors. Like, I don't understand. Don't understand, but I'm not surprised. Not surprised.
Okay, but let's not talk like Americans don't do fuck shit to toast either. We put avocados on it. Who thinks to do that? We think it's good, yes, because it is.
It is
and so
good.
we're like, oh, that's normal, but have you ever put baked beans on toast?
Fuck no.
Okay. So it's probably not bad. Right?
It's not.
I mean, literally,
It's not
okay.
the argument of whether it's good or bad. It's the fact that it's fucking boring.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's boring. Yeah, okay.
Because,
Fair enough.
Because avocado toast, you have seasoning.
Okay.
Like, a lot of people do, like, everything seasoning.
Yeah.
Or they'll do, like, onion powder and, you know, salt
Weird.
and pepper and lemon juice. And it's good, but, like,
Yeah.
all I can
I
picture
feel you
is
there.
white bread and baked beans. And that
Yeah.
makes me want to just off myself from boredom. I would drink
I feel like
decaf
you
coffee before I would eat that.
I feel like you definitely have to at least butter the toast, yeah? Like, it's not just like plain toast and plain beans, right? Like, you at least butter that shit up. That would make me feel better. Not a lot better,
But it's just butter.
but it's
It's
better
a
than
fucking
but it's better
necessity.
than but it's better than not butter, yes? I'm just
Slightly, like 0.2.
okay. Let's get off of there.
Going back
Okay.
to the book.
Back to the book.
Apologies, but not really. If you know us and you're listening, this is exactly what you signed up for. If you don't know us and you're listening, welcome to the family.
Stay if you would like.
If you think it's funny, stay. If you don't think it's funny, you're not our type of people anyways.
God, Jesus. So back to the book. Can we just talk about the situation with the turkeys?
Oh my
First
god.
of all-
First off, the fact that
The fact that he called his mom out on wasting taxpayers' money for a hotel room for these turkeys to stay in before she pardons them. Like, the fact that we actually put up turkeys in an entire hotel room.
Did you look it up?
I didn't look it up.
I feel like that has to be a real thing. But also at the same time,
because
it's a book, so like it.
It's not like they're like they have to like they're like they're not like imported in. It's not like we're getting these turkeys from different country, but they're brought like across state lines and stuff like that. So I feel like they definitely have to stay the night somewhere. So I mean, at that point, they're property of the royal family, so they have to be protected, right? So we're paying
the first family.
Oh yeah.
First family. We're not talking about.
Sorry. Yeah, they're property of the president, so they have to be like protected. So, like Alex points out, they don't like kill each other and or die or whatever. That's why a vet comes like every like 2 hours to check on them. So I feel like it's definitely a real thing. But I love that he was like, that's such a waste of taxpayers' money. And really his mom was like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, that's like, they have to be somewhere. And he was like, well, put them in my room. Yeah. Like, there's so many unused rooms in the White House. Stick them in a room and have somebody watch them.
I was about to say, it would make a lot more sense to stick the turkeys in a room in the White House.
Yes.
Because that's where the whole pardoning happens anyway, so why not just have them on the,
Yeah.
I don't understand that. That's definitely a waste of taxpayer money.
My brain can't logic it out. I don't understand.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But it was hilarious, though, that Alex was like, no, that's a waste, just put them in my room. And she was like, no, Alex, I'm not putting them in my room. He was like, no, put them in my room. And then he's absolutely terrified to realize these turkeys are creepy.
Which turkeys are?
They are
creepy, dude.
I am fully convinced that, like, turkeys and chickens know. They have the knowledge that they used to be predators.
Yeah.
And they're angry.
Mm-hmm.
They're angry that they're not anymore.
He the first time he calls Henry is when he has these turkeys in his room, and he straight up panic calls him. He doesn't even think about it. He just knows that Henry is awake and is freaking out because these turkeys keep gobbling at him. And he's like, they're descendants of velociraptors, okay? They know. And then I love that the turkeys go absolutely quiet when Henry's on the phone.
And oh my gosh, what does Henry say?
When he absolutely plays him? Yes. Or when they're talking about the gobbles?
So he's like, listen to them, and they go quiet, and they stop.
Like, and he says, truly Harry.
Yes.
The gobble.
That was freaking fantastic. He's
God.
Like, yes, truly harrowing.
Yes.
Very, very frightening.
And then
he's like,
he's like, you just have to, like, get on the same level with them. You have to connect with the turkey. And Alex
connect with the turkey. Get up close to them. Look them in the eye.
Yeah, Alex says, how do you do that? And he goes, get on their level. Get really close to them, like physically. Look them in the eye. And then I forget what he says after that, but he makes some joke.
And then Alex absolutely screeches.
Yeah. And he's like, fuck you. And just the fact that Henry clowned him like that. Oh my God.
I think that was one of the first times that Alex really realized, he's not cookie cutter boring.
Oh yeah.
He actually has a personality.
And it was so good too. He got him so good.
He really did. But it was funny and interesting to see Alex really like have to wrap his mind around the fact that Henry wasn't like this stupid person that he had worked Henry up to be in his mind in order to hate him and not acknowledge the fact that he was actually attracted and / like in love with him.
And the fact that he tells Henry too, like, I thought you were dull at first, like your dog's name is David, and Henry goes, after Bowie. And I can just I can so vividly picture Alex just like trying to recalibrating, just like blinking a lot rapidly and being like, what the fuck? Why didn't you just name him Bowie then? And then Henry's just like,
a bit on the nose.
Yeah, a bit on the nose, isn't it? Like, okay, I mean.
I love that. I love like the little phrases like that are just like strictly like British phrases that Henry uses. Love them so much.
Yes, they're so good.
I just love a lot of the British phrases and just how different they are from phrases that we use in America.
But they make so much sense,
They really do. And I don't know why, but I really love oi. Really
Yeah.
love oi. If I could go around saying that without sounding like a complete and total idiot, I would.
Oh my god, yes.
It makes so much sense to me. And it takes less effort than hey, which is probably why I enjoy it, because we're from the South and,
Yeah.
you know, anything that makes talking easier.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Y'all. Yeah. Yeah. We are lazy when it comes to our English, so that makes sense. Oh my gosh. So, I don't know if you caught this. When they have the New Year's Eve party and everybody is there. Sorry, hang on. At one point, Alex dodges getting hit on by, and this is a direct quote, the girl in the new Spider-Man movies. This is 2019. Zendaya? Hello? Is that who
good
they're supposed to be
sir.
talking
Good
about?
sir.
Because if you dodge Zendaya, everybody hates you, first of all.
Fight you. She's a fucking queen.
Like, yeah. She's a whole goddess.
She really is.
Like, I know that you're, like, obsessed with a prince right now, but she's a goddess, okay? And you're bi, so you know that she's hot, too. Like, if that's supposed to be who they're talking about. I can't picture it being anybody else.
The only other person that it could have been is Emma Stone. Because she was in, but that's an old, she was in,
the Andrew Garfield,
in-
but that
yeah.
wouldn't have been the new Spider-Man
No.
movies, because Spider-Man Homecoming came out, like, 2018, 2019-ish?
yeah. So it would
Or
have,
maybe Far From Home. Like, I don't know. It all came out so fast. I feel like
Yeah.
it definitely
it would have had
was
to,
Zendaya.
Yeah. That's so offensive.
That's
I mean, I did catch it. Yeah, I did catch it that he was dodging her. There were a couple people that
I think June was, like, trying to dodge getting hit on by, somebody from Stranger Things.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. Which I don't know.
that was interesting to me that she put, and not surprising, because obviously, you know, it's America, and you know, it's a New Year's Eve party that.
And they do that on purpose. They have, like, celebrities and stuff
Yeah,
there or whatever.
I mean,
that's the whole
absolutely.
that's the whole point of their thing. Yeah.
For sure. But I thought that it was interesting that she made that the author made it like real people that that her readers would know and connect with, like dodging Zendaya. And there was someone else too, and I can't for the life of me remember. But that was really interesting to me. I enjoyed that she put other celebrities in there without actually putting, like, other celebrities in there.
Mm-hmm. Without, like, name dropping anybody
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. Because I'm sure she probably would have gotten in trouble if she did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I feel like.
Yeah, she definitely could have been sued, I'm sure, if she had dropped names like that, because it's,
Probably.
you know, a fiction of... A fiction. Man, a work of fiction.
English is hard today, guys. We're sorry.
Alright. I'm just gonna go bleach my hair and be quiet.
God. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Their first kiss. I just love it. I just love how I love that they're
Their
like...
real first kiss, or when Henry just grabbed him?
Oh, when Henry just grabs him.
Okay, yeah. That was cute.
I love that he was just like, God, you're fucking daft. And then just kisses him. It's like... He's just like, you're so fucking dumb. And then I love that you get to see Alex's panic, how he's like, oh, what's happening? And the only thing he can think about is, like, how soft his lips are and his hand in his hair and all this stuff. And then Henry's like, I don't know if it ever says that he, like, actually starts to kiss him back. I think he just panics the whole time.
No, it does.
It does?
Yeah, he panics at first, and then he leans into the kiss.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. But I love that even then, like, he doesn't say anything and Henry just dips and the only thing he says is, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And he just immediately
Well after
realizes.
Henry's gone.
Yeah, he, like, watches him leave and then it hits him what just happened. He goes, oh. Like, oh? What?
You don't say.
Bro. You just got the shit kissed out of you by a prince, and your response is, oh? Like,
Shit.
but to be fair, like, he's, like, realizing that he just kissed a dude and liked it, and so he's like, ugh.
And not just anyone, a prince of England is
Yes. And also, I just
a lot.
love, like, the period of self-reflection that he goes through,
Oh my
being
gosh.
like, oh, I know I'm straight because I kissed a girl, and the only thing I thought about was her hair being soft. Like, dude, you let your best friend jack you off, and you thought it was chill because y'all were just horny teenagers. Like, no.
My guy.
No.
That's not something that straight dudes do.
Yeah.
They don't jack off with their best guy friend. Or jack each other off. Like, that's not a straight dude thing.
No. No. And he just, like...
There's a popular TikTok going around about that not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I
where
didn't
this
see
dude
that.
was like, oh, it's totally normal for straight dudes to jack off with their guy friends. I'm like, dude, I got something to tell you.
Okay.
My guy, no.
Dudes are weird. I feel like it might be normal for dudes to jack off, like, in the same room with each other, but to jack each other off?
Definitely not.
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
And the fact that he then called up that former best friend and was like,
Yeah,
did we have a thing?
Did we
and
have a
I
thing?
missed it.
Yeah.
And he was like,
His friend was straight up like, I don't have time for you. This
He was
is
like,
4
"Listen."
years after it would have been helpful.
yeah, he was like, listen, if you're done, my food's here and I need to talk about this conversation. That poor guy.
yeah.
But the fact that they were able to, like, smooth things over in the end and he came out to support Alex and Henry, when
It was really good of him.
at the re-election, yeah.
Because he absolutely did not have to
He
do that.
didn't
Because
owe Alex anything.
no, because Alex did him shitty. Like, he didn't, granted,
He didn't
Alex
mean to.
didn't know.
He was
and he
being
did
stupid.
apologize.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like, you know.
I mean, I don't... I can
Apologies after the fact don't really mean anything. And the fact that, like, I don't know. I just like that he was able to move past it because he absolutely didn't have to. Because
Yeah,
I'm
for
sure
sure.
that Alex unknowingly really hurt this dude.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, for
I'm sure that was a lot for him to, like, come to terms with on his own. So the fact that he was then able to be like, oh, well, you know, at least he learned and, like, grew and, figured himself out and came out to support Alex, that was really good of him.
Yeah, it was. I also really loved... This is something that we haven't touched on. Excuse me, sorry. I really loved that Alex's dad was so cool about it.
Oh my gosh, yes, I have notes about that later. I love
Okay.
that when he meets Henry, he doesn't say hello or anything else. He just says, I hope you're ready to fucking party.
Yes.
And continues on about his day like nothing
And
happened.
then his dad casually drops it in the conversation that they're having and doesn't make a big deal about it. Like,
Yeah.
it was...
And he's just like, oh, I thought you would have, like, a Catholic, like, crisis over it. And he's like...
Give me more credit than that.
Yeah. He's like, all right, no. But then he's like, y'all better take the bunks, though.
Yeah.
Which is such, like, a parent thing to do.
Yeah.
He's, like, chill with it, but he's like,
Take the bunk beds.
don't be fucking in my house.
You're an
No.
adult, but you can take the bunk beds.
Yeah. Which he knew. There's no
He
way he
knew.
didn't know that they weren't, like...
Yeah, for sure.
He just had to make it difficult for them.
Yeah.
Like, they were definitely gonna fuck in that house regardless. He was just like, I'm gonna make this hard, though. do it on bunk beds. How about that? Which I really want to know. I'm pretty sure Alex slept on the top bunk, yeah? I don't know if it specifies, but I need to know which bunk which of them slept on, and I need to know which bunk they had sex on. Did they have sex on the top bunk? Because damn.
No.
Do you have sex on the top bunk? Is that even, like, something that
If
you
you
would
wanna-
risk?
I mean, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. But I feel like if Alex
But
was
I'm
sleeping
scared
on
of
the top
heights.
bunk, he would be like, you gonna have to come get it then. Like, I feel like he has that type of personality.
I don't know why, but I thought Henry was on the top bunk and Alex was on the bottom. But then Henry left in the middle of the night, and that would be really hard for him because he literally even made his bed.
Yeah.
So unless Alex was just like, which, I mean, granted, they had been drinking, so it's possible that Alex was just absolutely passed out. It would be hard to be on the top bunk and make your bed and, like, be quiet about it and leave.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
don't
like
know
Henry
why-
was definitely on the bottom.
Maybe, yeah.
It would make sense, too, because Henry is taller than him, like, by a good bit. which they talk about. I love when Alex is like, fuck you, 5'9" is average. And
he
Henry goes, love, we both know that you're rounding up.
That was a fantastic
Like, all right, you don't have to call me out. Oh my gosh.
He really did call him out. That was, man. That,
He said, bitch, you short. What?
that was a little bit of a shot to the ego that Alex definitely needed.
Oh, yeah. Like, consistently. He consistently needs, like, a little bit of a hit. Which June and Nora are very good about giving him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love them.
I love them too. And I love that they're actually best friends. I love that they went through this whole thing of like, you know, doing control groups on what name for them would work out the best, you know, and they went with the White House trio, you know, and they're all like around the same age and they're all super smart, and that they're actually best friends and they have that support system within each other.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
I really love that.
And I like that, you know, Alex and Nora had their thing together too, and they even said it was kind of just because like it was inevitable and they wanted to get it out of the way. But I like that they were able to like stay friends after that too.
Yeah, be mature about it and not like have it be a thing. It was just
they were just like, okay, it was.
And
I like that, you know, because Nora is bisexual as well. That's who Alex went to when he's having this crisis of realizing that he's bi. And I love Nora's response to him too. Like, she finds out that Henry kissed Alex and she literally is just like, oh no shit, nice.
Yeah,
and Alex
so
is like,
about it.
yeah, and Alex is like, you're not surprised? And he's like, well, he's gay and you're hot, so. And he's like, Alex is like, how did you know that he's gay? And she's just like, you didn't? Yeah, like, she's just like, man. You didn't? Like, I don't know. He's just always been gay.
Yeah,
like, I just know.
He's gay. He's always been gay.
Yeah.
Like, how did you not know that?
Yeah, and I love that he's, like, trying to come out to her. He's like, am I bisexual? And she's like, yeah, dude. Like, did you miss that part? Do you need to come out to me? Do we need to go back?
Yeah,
like,
do we need to rewind and redo that conversation?
She goes, do you need to come out to me? I'm sorry. I'm listening. Like, I thought we already established that you're bi and got past this. And he's like, no. And she's like, well, could you fucking get there, dude? I'm having trouble holding your hand here. Like, I got other things going on.
And she's got 3 different screens in front of her face and is just, like, running a shit ton of numbers.
Yes.
Like, come on, get with it. I hate that it took him so long to have the conversation with his sister.
Yeah.
Man, like, I
hate that she was so upset. Like, I get why she was upset. I'm not mad that she was upset. I hate that, like, I just hate that because it's so hard to come out. And I know that he was just like, he knew, like, in his mind, coming out to her made it real and final. Like, that was it. And that's why he was scared about it. And the whole time she's like, I just wish that he would trust me enough to tell me.
Yeah.
And I hate that for her because she loves him so much.
Yeah, she gave up a potential career
to come in, like,
to stay close to him, to watch over him and make sure that he didn't just, you know, kill himself. You know, going to school and working with their mom and everything.
Yeah, and I hate that she had to feel like he didn't trust her or didn't want to talk to her about it for whatever reason. I hate that she had to go through that.
Yeah.
Because she's such a good sister to him.
Yes, and I absolutely love her character, and I love her. I love that her and June have such a close, she is June. Her and Nora have such a close relationship outside of their group friendship.
Yeah.
I think that that's so cool, and Alex talks about that, how they have this, like, bubble about themselves.
They have this, like, weird, never, like, girl connection.
Yeah, that he can never, like, fully understand.
And he even says, like, I don't think I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
Which you're not. You're absolutely not.
But I like that he recognizes that, and it's something that he's unbothered by. You know, as the only guy of the group, and like, he's one of the only guys, like, in the whole situation, you know, having a female president, having you know, his sister, and then Nora, whose role is the granddaughter of the vice president, and then all of the, you know, staff that his mom has. A lot are women.
Yeah.
You know, so he's one of the only men, so he could easily, you know, have, be fragile about it, basically, and have an issue with that, but he, you know, likes and respects that they have their friendship and their bubble outside of him, and can appreciate that, and I really like that he's not problematic in that way.
Yeah, I love that too. I love him coming out to his mom. I love his mom's reaction. I love that she's like, "Oh, honey, that's all you wanted to talk about? I thought it was something
so much worse."
Yeah, I thought it was something so much worse.
Or something bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. She said something bad. Yeah, I love that. She's just like, is so unbothered, and then he's like, "Oh, well, I'm actually seeing Henry," and she's like the prince? And he was like, "Yeah." And she immediately clears her entire afternoon and makes a PowerPoint presentation. And I love how she goes into it.
The
right?
PowerPoint presentation was fucking gold.
Yeah, and I love that she made it herself, right? She cleared her afternoon, spent an hour making it herself, says, "I didn't have a lot of time to put this together, so the titles are kind of shit, but here we are."
They're
and I love how she
hilarious.
Yeah, and I love how she approaches it too. She says, "First, I love you and support you," and then she goes into president mom mode and says, "Did you use federal funding for exclusively personal visits?" Like trying to make sure that, you know, he hasn't done anything that's like illegal or whatever, or that will wrong, like get them in trouble, you know. She's like, "I love you and I support you, but I have to make sure that we have everything straight,
our ducks in a row,
for when this inevitably comes out, because, you know, there's no way that it can't, like, whether it comes out from them,
it was an election year,
whether it comes out from them coming out or from people getting a hold of it, she knew that it would eventually come out, and she was like, you know, "I love you, I support you. If this is what you want to do, then that's fine, but we need to make sure we cover our asses." And then she tells him at the end of it too, she's like, "Even if you don't stay with him, this is a forever decision. Like, you cannot go back after the world finds out about this, so you need to make sure that this is really how you feel, and if it's not, you need to cut it the fuck out." And she says it pretty much just like that too, and I love that she was just like, gave it to him as bluntly as she could, and was just like,
this is how we have to handle it.
But I really appreciate that she was his mom first and the president second. And then went back to being his mom again at the end to be like, "I support you if this is what you decide." I really appreciate just like the amount of support he got from his family and from his friends, just being like, "Yeah, no, this is totally cool."
Yes, and then the amount of support that Henry got from his family and his friends, you know, when it was needed. And of course, Henry, you know, had a little, he had support. You know, it was a very nice surprise to see his mom back him up. You know,
it took a lot to get her out of like hiding, basically. She was hiding from the world. She didn't want to care about anything anymore because of the grief she felt over, you know, losing his dad, which is totally understandable. But I love that, you know, when her son really needed her, she was like, "Okay, I'm here now." And she was not only supportive of him, but she ended up being his biggest supporter and stood up to his grandmother, the queen, in support of him, and said, "I can easily take this crown from you, and I will do that if you try to ruin my son."
Yeah, absolutely loved it. And I loved obviously that he had the support of his sister, and that she, you know, was such a backbone for him. When everything went down with the queen and his brother, so it was nice. It was good to see him have that support. It was good to see his mom finally wake up and come back around to the living, basically, and support him. And then to see the outpour of support that they both got from, you know, their countries was incredible.
I love that Alex was so upset because he wasn't in DC for Pride,
Yeah.
After he realized that he was bi, he was like, oh, I'm missing, like, the first pride of, like, my sexual awakening or whatever. And he was legitimately upset about that, but then it was like pride started all over again when the world found out about him. Like, there were people flooding the streets with flags and shirts, and, you know, they put quotes from their private emails, like, on t-shirts, which is so cool. Like, I think it's so funny that the reason they leaked the emails was so that they could prove without a doubt that this relationship was happening, but it ended up being exactly what ruined it for them, because you could see so clearly in the emails the love that they have for each other.
Absolutely.
And there was just, like, no way that anybody could deny that. So people getting to see, like, it would be one thing if they had just leaked, like, pictures of them kissing, you know, people would be like, oh my god, what is this? They're probably just doing this for, like, a scandal or, you know, whatever.
Right.
But no, they leaked the emails, and people saw how they talked to each other, like, one-on-one personally when nobody else is around, and they were like, oh my god, these two actually really love each other. And there's just no way that you can't support that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's great that they turned, you know, these quotes that they got from their emails, which were leaked intending to hurt them, and then put them on t-shirts to be supportive.
Yes, absolutely.
And was like, we're here for you. Like, we love that you two love each other, and that's fine.
Yeah, the leak was obviously meant to ruin not only Alex and Henry, but Alex's mother, because it was an election year. It was meant to ruin her campaign and make sure she didn't, you know, she wasn't reelected. It was meant to ruin Henry and make the crown look bad.
And ruin Alex's potential career, because he has such potential, like,
exactly.
in his
and
career.
The people who leaked it knew what his goals were and knew he wanted to be a politician. And it just completely backfired, and that was just such a beautiful moment to see it completely backfire on them and be turned into such a positive, overwhelming event.
Yeah.
And I love to show them that, like, we don't care, we love you guys, and, you know, y'all have a support system.
And I love that it backfired on the crown too, because obviously, like, the queen didn't want them knowing that, you know, because they were, when the leak happened, they immediately got put on communications lockdown, both of them. They didn't have a way to communicate with each other. They weren't allowed Instagram, Twitter, any of these things.
Which had to have been so hard to not even be able to communicate with each other. Just like,
I love that you get to see Alex freak out, you know, like, he finds out that all of this stuff was leaked, and his first reaction when Sarah takes his phone is, no, give it back, I have to call Henry, I have to make sure that he's okay. Like, Henry is his first concern. He's like, fuck me, fuck my life, fuck, you know, this campaign and everything else that's going on. I need to make sure that Henry is okay. And I love that that was his first thought. But yeah, like, the crown, obviously the queen tried to hide that from them, and, you know, they of course had to go through the meeting with the queen and everything, and I love that she had to have them brought in through the back so that they didn't see the crowds of people that were supporting them. And I love that in the middle of this meeting with her, you know, obviously not supporting them and being like, you need to stop this, and, you know, trying to find a way to, like, basically cover it up, you can hear people shouting. And so Henry's mom gets up and, like, opens the windows, and it's just people flooding the streets just with pride flags, just in support of them, just being like, we're here. And I think that really was, like, it had to have been so nice for them to not only see that, like, wow, people are supportive of us, but to then turn around and look at his grandma and be like, fuck you, your country supports me, regardless of if this isn't the traditional way. And they say that too, like, I guess it's time to change tradition then, because they are obviously, like, your people are being supportive.
I couldn't even imagine that, to just for the crowd to be so loud alone, just the noise of the crowd to reach them in the castle, or in the palace, they call it a palace, whatever.
Because you know that they were blocked off. Like, first of all, the gate itself is so far away from the actual palace. So for them to be loud, and just for them to be that loud that you could hear them on the street.
That was such a beautiful moment. Like, just,
yeah, I really loved that for them. I loved that they got that. And Henry especially since, like, his family was obviously not supportive, and he didn't really have support, you know, anywhere besides from Alex.
it makes me so happy for him that he went from basically zero to support to the support of not only one entire country, but two, saying, like, oh, no, you're totally fine. Like, we're here for you.
And the fact that he thought he would never be happy. You know, when he ghosts Alex after Alex tries to tell Henry that he loves him, you know, they get into that argument, and Alex is like, you're not even going to try to be happy? And Henry was so resigned to the fact that no one was going to support him.
Yeah.
And that he was going to have to live this lie his entire life.
And he even says, he's like, there's no way for me to be happy. Like, I can't do what you do. I don't have the support. I don't have anything to back me up.
And then for his mom and his sister to prove him wrong and be like, no, you do have the support. We're here for you. And then for his country to turn out the way they did and just be like, you're wrong. You can be happy. You do have a shot.
Yeah.
And you can, you know, be yourself in this life and go down
and that must
make
have been
history the way that you want to make history.
Yeah. And that must have been such a huge relief for him too, because, you know, like, he knew that he didn't want to go into the military. He knew that he wanted to help Pez. That's why he spent his gap year doing it. And he knew all these things that he wanted to do if he could. He just didn't think that he could do them. So he was kind of stuck in this limbo of like, well, what do I do then? Because there's nothing that I want to do that I can do. So for him to then have that support and then have it literally just open up all these doors for him and be like, oh, not only can I be myself, but now I can do this business adventure that I've been wanting to do. I can support Pez. I can do all of these things. And it was
I can be with the person that I love.
Yeah. And I feel like that was just really amazing for him to be like, oh, I can actually do literally everything that I've ever wanted to do. Cool.
Yeah,
like,
such a massive weight off of his shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even imagine the overwhelming feeling.
I can't imagine how much better he must have been sleeping after that.
Oh my gosh.
Because you know that's why he was always awake, is because he was stressed about everything.
So
he was unhappy, you know, so I can't...
And he didn't know what he was going to do with his life.
Yeah. Just the peace that he probably felt, like, going to sleep after that was probably amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was probably the best night's sleep he ever had.
Yeah.
He was probably like, is this what sleep feels like?
Oh man, I woke up feeling good for once.
Don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Directed at me. I can relate, my man.
Yeah,
I also don't know what sleep feels like. No, I just, God, I really love that for him. Especially because, like, when he did come out to Philip and it went so horribly wrong, even then he didn't really have support because, you know, the only thing Alex had experienced was support. So he didn't really know, which nobody knows. Like, what do you say to somebody when that happens? There's nothing you can say to make it okay. So he was literally just like, fuck, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. Because that's the only thing there is to say. But, I mean, that doesn't take away the fact that the people that are supposed to always support you are not supporting you. It doesn't take away the hurt. It doesn't take away, you know, those feelings. And I feel bad for Alex in that situation, too, because, you know, he's always tried to be, like, an area of peace for Henry, like, where he can come to Alex and he doesn't have to worry about anything. And he does a really good job of that. But when something like that happens, there's literally just nothing you can say. Yeah.
Because you can't make it better.
No, absolutely not.
You can just show the person that you're
especially
there
not
for them.
Yeah, especially not when it's family. I feel like it would be one thing if it was like a stranger being like, oh, you're gay, and to be like, oh, well, fuck that guy, like, you don't even know them. But for it to be your family and for it to be so personal.
It would also be different if it was family that you had the option of just, like, cutting out of your life. You know, like, normal people, for the most part, can go no contact with family members, you know, if that situation needs to happen. But, you know, when you're a family member of the royal family, you can't really just, like, at least I would imagine you can't fully cut ties with that person. You know, there's always going to be some sort of interaction that you have to have with them.
Yeah.
What else do we want to talk I feel like we covered a lot of the... I think we covered most of the book, actually.
Yeah.
Beginning to end.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I could talk about this book for hours. I could go
could
so
too.
in depth with all the references, all the little quotes from their emails. Oh my
same.
god.
I love it.
I live for their emails. I could literally probably just like print off their emails and just like put them on my wall and just read them daily and be like, yes.
Absolutely, for sure.
Just feel like, yes, I do love these two so much.
All right. Well, if we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Gotta get to where I'm going. All right. As usual, you can find our social media links to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and our email on our website at msha.ke/inkdrinkers. Something else that we also wanted to briefly touch on was obviously for the month of June, Pride Month, we're going to be talking just about
LGBTQ books.
Thank you. Sorry, I
So-
always trip myself
No,
up on
you're
that.
fine.
We have one more book, boyfriend material, but we don't have a third book to talk about for the month of June. So if anyone else or if anyone out there has
Suggestions.
yes, book recommendations for Pride Month, we would absolutely love to hear it.
Either a book that talks about LGBTQ or is written by an LGBTQ author or both. I mean, whatever.
Yes.
If you have any recommendations, please email them to us. We will look at them.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. That wraps up our
second episode.
I know.
How are you feeling?
It's still weird.
It is weird. I feel
But
like
it's a good weird.
Yeah, I feel like, well, we started this because we always talk so much about our books anyways, but I feel like it's different to like know that you're being recorded and that you're putting it out there for everybody else to hear too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. These are all conversations that we would just be having like regularly.
Yeah, this is, exactly. We see each other all the time. So these are conversations that we would just, have sitting in our living room.
Yeah.
Normally.
I mean, I know I treat it like homework and take notes, but that's literally just so that I don't forget all the things that I want to say because there's always so much. I'm like, oh yeah, I have to remember that. But I also know my memory is absolute garbage. So I'm like, let me just write this down.
Yeah, for sure.